recently, and we're building on it. And we're trying to work with donor agencies. So there's a DFID funded project called Voices for Change. And that's, first of all, we're starting with even trying to get more women joining parties. I'm sure none of you, I'm taking a wild guess that none of you in the studios in Lagos has a party card. But I want to wager that if you wanted to walk into one of your ward offices and try and get a card, you find that it's not quite easy. So starting from that platform, how do we help more women get registered into parties and help them get more effective? And then next comes the mentorship. So yes, we're actually right now in the process of pairing two young girls who think they might be interested in politics with older mentors. And the mentors don't necessarily have to be in politics themselves because sometimes they don't have enough time. And so we pair them with just business professionals who have a worldview and can be a sounding board for these girls who think that they want to end up in politics. That's one. Two, there are actually many, many organizations in civil society who are already doing that mentorship. For example, we have KIND, the Kudret Initiative for Democracy. They've had a lot of mentorship programs for women in politics, actually even pairing young girls from the University of Lagos with active politicians. So it's been ongoing. But as we've been hearing, it's a slow process, but it does exist. But we shouldn't also discount the fact that just seeing more women in public space, so whether they're there by appointments or not by elections, that's also making a difference in the lives of many, many girls. Whether it's an Okonjo-Iweala who was an appointed, or the woman who was, whether it's if we're called Morgi in FIRS, the fact that these women are in the papers, in the newspapers, making decisions, they don't have to be elected to serve as general role models, not even only to girls, but also to boys and men. Because let's not forget that the obstacle to women's political participation is not just women, it's also the whole society. So seeing more women in leadership positions does send out a subtle message with time that's changing. Now, in terms of more direct action, we had a movie, a small documentary that we did with Joke Silva and Kate Henshaw last year that we launched just before the elections, just sort of trying to change the narrative around women in politics. And I think that's a very big opportunity for many people. Let's focus on, while we're working through all the cultural barriers and stereotypes, we can also take active action. So how do we work with Nollywood? How do we work with the musicians to start putting women and projecting them in a more positive light instead of just the traditional housewife, somebody who wants to snatch somebody's husband? Moving away from those stereotypes and showing women in a more positive light. It works all around the world. People say that television series helped America prepare for a black president, a female president. We can do the same thing in Nigeria. And just in terms of, yes, I think Remi Shonaya did a fantastic job. And we're getting more and more women interested in the political space. And that's a good thing as well. Let's not discount it. It's slow, but it's happening. And I also want to make sure that I address a comment that the gentleman in the studio made. Women don't vote for only women. And we don't want female candidates to be voted for only by women. They're going to be there to work for all Nigerians. The greatest soundbite I took from General President Mohamed Buhari's statement yesterday was, I belong to everybody, I belong to nobody. So let's move away from this myth that women should vote for women, men should vote for men. Women are voting in their millions for men right now, and men who are in elected positions owe them a duty of responsibility. When a woman is elected, she's not going to be there only to work for women. She's going to be there to work for men and women. She's going to be there to work for everybody. So let's stop building on that stereotype and saying, why didn't the women vote for her? We should be asking, why didn't the people vote for her or for him?
Ayisha, if I may ask a question so that maybe you didn't get my perspective. What I was saying is this. Yes, you have challenges with the society, the inhibitions that come from the society, the men thinking that the women are meant to be kept in the background, they're meant to stay in the kitchen, birth the children and nurture them. They're not supposed to come into leadership positions. One would think that when a woman comes up, for instance, I told someone, I said, if I was going to vote, I was going to vote for Yemi Shonaya of the Koa party. But fortunately for me that day, I was in the studio monitoring what was going on. So that when I asked that question, I said, it looks as if the women don't get as much support as they should get from their women folk. Why is that so?
Again, I think maybe we're looking at things from different perspectives. I think women are getting a lot of support from women folk. But at the end of the day, considering what space we're in terms of our democratic governance and maturity, I think it is wrong. It's the wrong question to ask, why are women not voting for women? I'll be honest, I will say on TV, I didn't vote for Remi Shonaya because I wanted my vote to go to the person who, and that, let's not even discount that in anything we're doing. People want to be on the side of the winners. Was she going to win? No. And if we look at the 14 candidates who ran, she came, I think she beat 2 men. So she made she was like 12th on the list in terms of the votes that she got. So I wanted my vote to count. I'm not going to vote for a woman just because she's a woman. I'm not going to vote for somebody who just stands up and say, vote for me today, when they have no political capital. I've not seen their track record in the public space or the private space. I'm not going to vote only on sentiments. And I think it's wrong to ask women to do so. We are the most downtrodden of society. We are the ones most in need of health care, of education for our children, of protection for ourselves from domestic violence and all sorts of social abuses. Why would I want to vote for somebody who I didn't think was going to be able to do that? But as things change, as more and more women come out, credible women with experience, with a background, we will see that happening. But I think the question that you've asked, I didn't get it wrong. I understood, but I think it's the wrong question to ask. We should not expect women to only vote for women. I want all Nigerians to vote for women. I want Nigerian women to vote for credible candidates who they can hold accountable. And that's it.
Okay, let's come back to you in the studio. Now let's look at the issue of performance. When men think about women or giving them a particular job of work, they think about, oh, they will go on maternity leave, oh, they will have a monthly period, oh, they will not be able to work consistently as they would like them to because they have women issues. Does any of this bother you, that we have that kind of stigma on us?
It does bother me, and what bothers me is the fact that we're still actually saying this in 2015. Especially when, if you speak to men one-on-one, they will tell you that the women they have in their employment are the most dependable, are the most hardworking, are the least likely to go away with office funds. So I think that this statement of you can't rely on a woman, she's going to get married, she's going to have children, is a statement that is trotted out and parodied,
Hackneyed,
at a time when men and women are contesting for the same position. It's not true. It really doesn't exist anymore. To that extent, it does bother me. And I think, as Ayisha said, we should look at performance. Yes, we have a gender policy. And yes, we should encourage, support, and compliance with the Millennium Development Goals by making sure we fulfill our gender policy. And the women are out there. So it's not just election. What about appointment? Putting them in the positions where they are fully qualified to perform and where they will perform. And they then become examples for others. So I think this question of,